I'm Valerie Graham, and welcome back to Natural Bliss. Today I have a very special guest with me, Janna Zarchin. Janna is a possibilities coach. She's a labyrinth facilitator and a spiritual adventure leader, along with an ordained interfaith minister. But she has developed a very unique system called the Orionic Frequency Adjusted Healing Method. And she'll tell us all about that and how that can help you. And she actually likes to invite magic into your life. So she's going to tell us all about how she does that. So welcome, Janna. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much, Val, for having me. I'm thrilled that I get to, tell people about all these wonderful things that can uplift them.
Okay, so let's start with a little bit of the magic, because I think everybody wants magic in their life, right? So everybody wants to hear how they can do that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about magic and how the magic has come to your life.
Well, I think that we're all missing a little bit of magic in our lives these days. I think we're all very busy, being very cynical and practical and stressed out and running all over the place. And so I think that a part of what happens is that we miss the tools that we used to have when we were a much different kind of culture. And I think, just by the success of Harry Potter and some of the other things that have, come out over the last number of years, that people are really hungering for a connection to something that's a little beyond the daily life. And for me, I think that began when I realized that I had gotten all the things I wanted in my life, and I was pretty young. I had the hubby, the baby, the marriage, the home. And I kind of got to the place where I said, is that it? Is that all there is to life? And we're just going to work and eat and have kids and leave? Is that it? And I started searching, and that was kind of really my story. And then over the years, I just kept searching, and I found many, many, many different tools that connected me to something that was way beyond daily life. Okay. And I think many people are interested now in their spiritual growth, or beginning to be interested in their spiritual growth, not religious, but I think more connected to themselves, more connected to spirit, more connected to something beyond the everyday.
Yes, I think there's definitely a shift in the energies here, and people are more interested in the esoteric and what is beyond and what they don't know.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about what is a possibility coach and what tools do you use?
Okay, well, a possibility coach is somebody that helps you to hold the space for creating possibility in your life. So I have many, many process tools. I've taken many, many, many different kinds of healing trainings. I'm also a rebirther. So that's a breathwork technique, and a lot of it has to do with your consciousness. So really it's all about how you hold things and how you work your consciousness. And there are different tools that help you do that. So as I came across different things, I found the labyrinth. And we have a picture of my labyrinth here. This is from my yard, and that labyrinth, which is the labyrinth that's in Chartres, France, which is the oldest labyrinth right now that we have on the earth. It was built in 1201. It's very, very powerful. And what the power in it is on so many levels. So the sacred geometry of it, the very design of it, you can see a little bit better, I think, here. The design of it is really to create a certain frequency. And when you raise frequency, you change and you create magic. Because magic happens in a higher frequency. What we live our daily lives in generally is a stressed out frequency, which is a much lower frequency.
Absolutely.
And when we open our hearts and we're in joy and we're in happiness and we're in fun and we're happy and loving ourselves and each other, we create a higher frequency. And so in order to get more magic in your life, you have to find ways to raise your frequency.
Absolutely. I am an aromatherapist, and I use essential oils.
Right.
They can also raise your vibration and frequency.
Absolutely. So those are, there are some tools. So the tools that I use are the labyrinth.
Okay, so let me just stop you 1 second. So a lot of people, I think, would today call a labyrinth a maze.
Right.
And let's use this and just can you just trace or show what you might do if you had a labyrinth?
Well, when you're walking, you walk the labyrinth, or you can use it as a finger labyrinth. This actually is this way. You come in at the entrance point in the labyrinth, and you would follow it around. And what happens is that you can't see where you're going. You can't see the goal, which is to get into the center.
Okay.
So really, it's a presence process. So you walk in, and you can only be where you are. And every time you make a turn, it turns your brain. So it turns your ability to process from your linear side to your creative process side. So you use your whole brain as your problem solving. So if you walk in with an intention, and that's generally what I encourage people to do, is create an intention when I hold the space, and that's what a facilitator does. Is a facilitator holds the space and makes that a more powerful experience. When I hold the space, you're walking in with an intention, you're setting that before you step in. And my experience of the labyrinth is when you step into it, it's almost like this little sacred bubble, this energy that comes around you. And because I do feel energy, I do feel it come around me the minute I step in. So I know that this sacred geometry is working. And so it raises your frequency just being on this field of this form. And as you are in step by step, you're moment by moment in presence with whatever you've decided you want to think about. People go in and they think about a problem or something they want to solve. They think about ideas. They think about gratitude or peace or, something going on with them that they would like more information about. And my experience of it has been that it really connects you into yourself in such a beautiful way and creates so much peace. And when you're at peace, your vibration is raising and you're creating magic in your life. And
so it's almost like meditating, like a walking meditation.
It is. And for me, as a very frenetic kind of always moving kind of person, this has been a fabulous tool.
Okay.
A really wonderful tool. And lots of miracles have happened to people while they were on the labyrinth. Would you like me to tell you one little story?
I would love to hear a story.
There was a man that walked the labyrinth, and he was adopted. And he had never thought, he was in his 30s, and he'd never thought before about finding his birth mother. And that day, as he walked the labyrinth, it occurred to him, and these kind of things kind of bubble up like unbidden sometimes when you're walking, that he might like to find his birth mother. When he got home, he had a message on his message machine from his birth mother.
Oh my God.
That's a little of the magic of the labyrinth. Okay, so that's connection. That's connection in. It's connection out, it's connection up, and it's connection to the earth as well. It's just total connection, and it's just fabulous. Great experience. And so one of the things that I was told when I walked the facilitated labyrinth for the very first time was that I was to take people on trips to walk the labyrinth in sacred places. And so being that I had been being called to go to Ireland, and I don't know why, I just was called because Ireland, as I have found out since, is a very magical place. And so, of course, the first place I would pick to go find magic.
Okay.
So we are going to be walking the labyrinth in many places in Ireland, and we're going to be going to these very beautiful places and we're going to be walking the labyrinth by this waterfall and glacial lake, and there's ancient stones here. We'll be doing full moon ceremony in that, and that's a whole nother thing. And we'll be walking the labyrinth in various other places like the fairy forest. And we have a very, very, very special guide who's going to take us to very magical, special, hidden places as we go.
Sounds fabulous.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing, amazing experience.
That's
okay. So
fantastic.
That's one of the tools.
Okay. And then what other tools do you use?
Well, I certainly use. I have a formula for creating magic in your life that I have found if I work it, it works.
Okay.
And most people want to work it, and they get tripped up usually, which is why I do trainings about how to work it, and then coaching with people individually to help them work it.
Okay.
Right? So if you're trying to do certain things in your life, and you have a certain bent on or holding on about that, say you're struggling with, how to get more money in your life or what to do for your work, or you want a certain thing to happen, you have to be very clear. So we work the 5 steps. You have to be very clear. That's the first step.
Okay.
You have to What's the second step? Know your limiting belief.
By very clear, we have to be very specific about what you want.
Exactly. Very specific and very clear.
Be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, exactly, because you do get it. And I will tell you a story about that. And then you also have to know what limiting beliefs you have. And the way that I use Orionics is to lift the limiting belief. And Orionics is this system, the Orionic system for vibrational healing, is this system that just very magically, because we use sacred geometry and we use sacred sounds and sacred space and certain other magical special ingredients to help to lift those limiting thoughts right out of the cellular programming. So it's all happening vibrationally by raising your physical vibration as well as the vibration in your whole field. So if you're understanding that raising the vibration in your field can do amazing magical things in your life, you know, that's the purpose. And then after we lift the limiting beliefs, we have to work on letting go. Okay. Letting go is the hardest step, right. And it's one of the ones that really makes the magic happen. And most of us have a hard time with that one, and so we need coaching about it. And usually that involves the limiting beliefs. It involves also the fourth step, which is trust, right? And the fifth step, which is knowing that the universe really has your back and wants equal or better for you than what you've asked for. So those are the 5 steps, and those are the things that I help people with when I work with them. Okay. As a possibility coach, when I teach, when I do my teleseminar, 5 steps to creating magic in your life, and also when we do work, you know, with Orionics. So we'll talk about that.
You are starting a teleseminar.
Yes, the teleseminar is starting today.
Yes,
right.
Okay.
But we'll run it again.
Okay.
So and then we'll, you know, probably have it digitally available. So
people that want to try it,
right.
We'll tell you how to get in touch with Janna at the end of the program.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about the Orionic symbols and the methodology and what's involved in that. Okay.
So the Orionic system is really about, this is the symbol that we worked on and received in meditation and in our working with each other and with clients, found that these forms and shapes produced a frequency that created a really raise in the vibration. So some of these things you'll notice, we have a triangle here, but really there's also a triangle here. And if you put those triangles one on top of the other, you really have a 6-pointed triangle. And that's a very high vibration, sacred symbol, as you know. We also have a cross. And we also have a circle, which is unifying. So all of these things placed the way they are is very particular, and they're done in that way to raise the frequency as best as it can. And one of the magical things that we have the symbol has done is when we put it over the table, when we work on someone, we also can do this long distance vibrationally, because there is no time and no space. And when you're doing vibrational work, you can send it, and that's easy. And I do sessions for people on the phone, on Skype, and just long distance all the time.
Oh, excellent.
But I use the symbol as a way to create that sacred space that I'm looking for to raise the vibrational field for the person. And so that's what we do. We decide what it is, the thought that is tripping them up, the thought that's painful, the thought that's limiting. And then once we have that, we go into the session. The person lays on the table under the symbol. I create a sacred space. I've received an invocation that was kind of given to me as I was working. It just kind of spilled out of me one day, and it just creates this amazing space. And it's funny, I was working with somebody the other day, and I was telling them about the invocation. And just because we were talking about it, she felt the feeling of cold that I always feel that comes around me when I say it. It raises the whole field up. And a lot of times we have found that when you raise the whole field up, you get cold.
Wow.
When the frequency raises, you get cold. So you feel this cold come around you when we say the invocation, and the person is like almost in the arms of spirit.
And I'm getting chills right now.
And it's a very nice, it's a really nice feeling to be in the arms of spirit. It's very safe and nurturing. And I find that's what happens when you lay under this symbol.
Okay.
So, and then there were other things that happen, and I use certain sacred sounds and symbols that I make vocally. I also use the brain and the central nervous system with a matching frequency to the color that we put on specific place in the brain. And that's from a whole other healing system that I worked with years ago with cancer patients that was phenomenal. So a little piece of that is in Orionics.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Very nice.
Okay.
So,
so I want to tell you a story?
Sure,
okay.
absolutely.
So I had a man who came to me, and he had been in a lot of pain his whole life and had a very, very severe thought about wanting to be here, not wanting to be here. Mm-hmm. And he said, if I could be rid of this thought, and he had been in a lot of therapy and, very serious, mental health support. And he said to me, if I could be rid of this thought, it would be a miracle to me. And so I said, okay, because I feel very safe. Orionics is very gentle and very easy and comfortable, and the person just lays down and kind of has like take me away Calgon moment. and so I did the session for him, and we lifted the thought, and we asked Spirit, to do that. And he called me up the next week, and he said, Janna, like poof, it's gone. After 42 years, this man's pain was gone in a week.
That is phenomenal.
It was amazing.
That's amazing, right.
Yeah.
And that's a miracle.
And that happens, and that's, to me, magic.
Absolutely.
So if you define magic that way, that's magic. I want to tell you also a story about using the 5 steps.
Okay.
Because it was such a wonderful thing. It happened to me this past March. I had really just become really clear what the 5 steps were, and how to break it down and make it really a structure. Mm-hmm. And I was coming back from Asheville visiting my guy Jeremy, who's going to be taking us. He's so special, and he lives in Asheville. And so we were. I was visiting him, and I had a connecting flight to Long Island, and my connecting flight was getting delayed. So they were texting me. It was already a nighttime flight, and it was supposed to leave at 9:40 at night from Baltimore and come back to the island. And so they were telling me now it was going to leave at 10:40, 11. I said, this is not what I want. So I set my intention. I did the first step, and I addressed any limiting belief I might have. I did the letting go process, and I said, okay, this is what I want. I know I can have it. I'm not going to be worried about it. I'm going to trust that Spirit is going to do what I need, and I'm going to have better than I could ever have imagined. Now, I was supposed to get home about 11 o'clock according to my original reservations. And so when I went to the airport, I said, is there a sooner flight that I can take from when I get to Baltimore? And they checked the schedule, and they said no. So I said, well, I'm just going to let go and trust Spirit knows what I want. So I got to Baltimore. The plane got in 10 minutes early. As I was walking off of the plane, they were announcing the next flight to Long Island is now boarding. Go to gate, whatever it was. I went right to the next gate. I gave them my boarding pass. The plane was empty. I got on the plane. I was home at 8:30.
Fantastic.
So I was home in much less time than my original plans, and much less time than they were telling me I was going to be home. So it was just a little demonstration that the 5 steps really work.
Okay. So I hope that you've all learned a little bit about how you can let go, release, work your steps, and bring some magic into your life. And I hope you enjoyed our pictures, and I hope that anyone out there who's resonating with this takes advantage of joining Janna on her trip to Ireland coming up. When
the trip is May 27th to June 5th.
Okay.
We will be taking an overnight flight on the 27th, getting into Shannon on the 28th. We will be doing full moon ceremony in the stone circle, as I said. We will be walking the labyrinth in many places. We will also be seeking out our intention, working our 5 steps, is that everybody has some magic happen to them. When we're there, Jeremy is a master at connecting with that. He has told me many magical, amazing stories that really could be out of Harry Potter. So he will be there being our guide.
Fantastic. And if you'd like an Orionic session, tell our audience where they can reach you and how to get in touch with you.
If you would like to come for an Orionic session or come on the trip, we only have 5 places left. or have some coaching about your own personal journey in how to create what you want in your life, you can call me at 631-656-0563, or you can check it all out on my website at jannazarchin.com. That's JANNAZARCHIN.com. And all of the information is there for everything that I do.
Great.
And I would be happy to speak with you if you have any questions.
So thank you very much, and thank you for coming on, and I will see you all next week.
Thank you for having me, Val.
You're welcome. Valerie Graham for Natural Bliss.